Hey, we're at the Billy Sexton, the GOAT fundraising event, trying to lift Billy's spirits and raise a little bit of money. And I'm joined by Shane Burnham, currently a graduate analyst, a football analyst for the defense at Florida State, and Eric Hayes, who is one of the best defensive tackles that ever played at Florida State, my humble opinion. He came in with that class of Sammy Smith and Dion and Eric. It was a big deal getting Eric Hayes. So Shane, you were a boy at the time, and now you're a coach. And what were you've gotten to watch his film?
Yeah, what's awesome, Jerry, all the old tape is still in our system, so when I'm in the office, I can pull up 84, 85, whatever, all the way through the years. My memories of that defense, at that time, relentless effort, like sharks on, bait. Just if you were moving, they were getting after your butt. And Eric, 78, I always remember that number, 78, and then flying around. Just they were relentless, and the way they played was contagious.
That's if I wasn't getting in trouble.
I've heard some stories about him and Dad kind of getting back and forth, but no, those guys were just fanatical in their effort. That's what stands out to me, E. Hayes. And, I don't know what stands out to you.
Nancy Fellins walking by.
The effort and the physical play was fanatical.
It was just we were determined to be the best because they recruited us and hey, you guys are number one recruiting class. So everything was a fight for us. We wanted to show the juniors, the seniors that hey, I'm coming for your job.
Yeah.
And they knew it when we got there, and we kept it going the whole time we was there. And the guys that came in, you had to live up to our expectations because we knew what our coaches expected. Once we knew what they expected, we pushed the bar. Coaches didn't have to run the players off, we did.
That's always the best when it's player-led. That's the way. I mean, that's when the culture's strongest. When the players are running,
And that's why we had so much fun. And like I said, you move for each other. And we wanted to make plays for each other. We wanted to fill that gap because I know if I fill that gap, that guy's going to be on my hip pocket to knock this guy backwards. And we had to trust the process, trust the system. And once you start seeing it fit together in a play, during a game, you see how you guys ran at it, it was perfect. Perfect play.
Perfect play, that's right. That's how you end up playing perfect play. Hey, snap down from the huddle to the finish. Yeah.
Hey, let me interject here because the fans don't really understand what perfect play means to you guys.
Right.
It's at practice, and I want you to explain what the coaches did to instill in your mind what a perfect play looks like at practice.
A perfect play is maximum effort from all 11 guys doing their job for the 7 or 8 seconds it's going to take to perform that task. That means maximum effort. I mean, you're a thoroughbred. You don't run standing up. You run leaning forward. You're trying to get there.
But Eric, let me go a step further. It started with lining up, and your uniform had to be right. You couldn't have your shirt hanging out.
Huddle, stance, formation, hands on hips. Hands on hips. You had to have that 6-inch lean so the DBs could hear what the call was about a linebacker, and you had to break the huddle on time. Everybody had to sound and one. If you didn't break the huddle sounding right, everybody just stopped.
And as I recall, as a reporter out there, you guys would come back to the huddle, and the 4 defensive assistants would give thumbs up for their position or thumbs down. And if one guy did a thumbs down, the whole group did it again.
It didn't matter. Suck it up. Take a few deep breaths. Let's line up and do it again until everybody does it right. That was the drill.
So Shane, what is it you're trying to instill with that as a coach?
The accountability. I think the accountability to do your job, whether it's the communication pre-snap, whether it's the line to assign to execute what you're responsible for in that call, or the effort to finish, but the accountability from start to finish, and to give it up for your teammate. And those guys would, again, going back to the effort, it was demanded, but it was player-led. It was fun to watch.
So if you had a guy who was letting you down and you were having to do extra reps because of a guy letting you down, what happened?
He wouldn't be on the field with that first unit anymore because you're not giving the extra effort we don't need you out there. You got to give till it hurts. Everybody feels it. If I'm hurting, I'm bent over, and I'm fighting to stay up in the other person, then you got to fight too. You sacrifice for each other.
So when you guys came in together in '85, it was Odell and you and Sammy and Dion and Blade and I mean that was
Odell and
Chris Miller.
Oh man, we had some Chip Ferguson, Peter Tom Willis.
But at that time, it had to be developed. That culture had to be developed. It didn't happen overnight.
No, a lot of it started at the first ever Florida Georgia All-Star game. It was like, 16, 17 of us on that team. So we already had a rapport because we already knew where we were going to school, and we were all really sizing each other up at that event. And it got tighter as we got on campus and we started meeting the other guys because a lot of us hadn't met each other before then, but the core guys who were at the All-Star game, we knew each other. Or you had taken a trip with one other guy that somebody else had. So those relationships started building. Then when we came in and I think it was John, Joe, and a couple of the offensive linemen, they tried to cut Deion's curly perm off. And it was myself, Anthony Williams, Keith Clark, Ed Clark, Keith, and we ran in there and said, "What y'all doing? Well, we're gonna cut his curly perm off, and then we're cutting y'all's hair off." I said, "Well, that's a fight y'all ain't gonna win right there." And all of us started coming in, all the big guys started coming in. "What do you mean?" I said, "You either take your hands off them, we're gonna have a good fight today." And they let Deion up, and Deion started talking all kind of trash and stuff. But we had fun. It was continuity built at an early stage, and we still call on each other today. Those relationships are still strong today.
Hey, so let me take this to why we're here today. You were recruited by Billy Sexton.
Oh yeah.
And, well, how did that relationship start?
It was just like
develop?
It was him talking to me and telling me, "Hey, you come here, you're gonna be all world." I said, "Coach, I go anywhere, I'm gonna be all world." He said, "No, but you can help start something." And when I started coming up with my cousin Felton and Felton Hayes and Stanley and
So Felton Hayes was a linebacker.
yeah, he was our linebacker from Brandon, and I started coming up visiting him, and then Stanley Scott, and just saw how close everybody was up in the dorm, and then everybody was teaching each other. The young guys were running behind the older guys trying to learn what was going on, and if you were better than them, they knew you were better than them, and they were pushing you to get better than what you were. So everything grew.
Hey, all right, so you got a young buck defensive coach, defensive line coach.
47, not so young anymore.
That's true, you're not. Hey, you and I've talked a lot over the years about what was right and what was wrong, and now it's coming back around a circle. What would you tell this guy about what you see about what Mike Norvell's doing?
You were a kid when you were watching your dad and us go through it, and within the scheme of things or the hours of time they give you, just make sure those guys are violent. Just make sure they're violent with their hands and understand that balance thing, because that's what it's all about. Leverage, angles, and speed. If I get my hands on you before you can get that ball up, it's a wrap. And that's how I won a lot of my battles, because we won the Fiesta Bowl.
Against Nebraska.
And Odell and I just looking at each other. I said, Odell, I said, you better move before I do, because we need that damn ball. And Odell popped him so hard, and the ball was laying on his belly and had a pin, and he couldn't do it, and I snatched it, and that was it. And Danny took the team, marched the field, and we beat their butts. We've owned them ever since.
That was a goal line play, Nebraska leading. If they score there, it's over. But as soon as they fumbled, you knew it was still over.
Yeah, we know it was over because we saw what our offense was doing to them all day. Yeah. All we wanted to do was stop what they were doing and give our offense another run at it.
So talk to me about Billy and what he continues to mean to you.
He brought me here. I mean, he brought me. I mean, as a young man, when you're sitting there looking at all these different things that you don't understand, and you got somebody talking you through the process, as well as and it's being backed up by Coach Bowden. So I got Coach Sexton and Coach Bowden. It's like I got my dad and I got my uncle, and they're both telling me the same thing. And everything was about making yourself better. And it was, if you make yourself better, you represent your family in a way that no one else can, because you're doing the right things for the right reasons.
Shane, how does that compare to what Mike Norvell's trying to get done right now?
When I think about my time here as a kid and coming back and being around these guys, and as I've grown up here, 47, it was a family. The relationships were genuine. They were deep. They went beyond the football field. And that's what it was as a kid here for these coaches and players, and even beyond the families. It was special. I feel that with Coach Norvell. I'm in the building every day, and you can't fool kids. You cannot fool kids.
If you're not genuine, they fill it out real quick.
Yeah.
If it's not coming from your heart, and I'm not treating one any better than I'm treating the other, and you sit there and let them know, hey, you got to earn this. Point blank, it's not given to you.
So let me share this with the people listening to this. We had a line to get in here. This thing was sold out, big time, big crowd. And somebody says, hey, Mike Norvell's standing at the back of the line. Can you go get him? So I go out to get Mike.
Tried to get him to come in. He didn't want to come in.
He said, no, I'm just
stay in line with everybody else.
That's
what you want.
And you came out with me.
Yeah, and I came out with you. I'm like, Coach, you come in and said, no, I'm going to stay. Hey, I get it. I'm the same way. I stood in line too. You know, it doesn't matter who you are. You just want to fit in the right way.
And that's something I've noticed in your recruiting, and not to talk recruiting this, I know you can't, but I've noticed an unselfishness in a player that it becomes a quality you guys seem to look for, a kid that's unselfish.
I think, it's that old, what you put out in the world is what you get back sometimes, right? And whatever that is for Coach, what he puts out, that positive energy when people come in the building, he's always available, he's, again, genuine with his interactions. I just think what you put out, that positive, enthusiastic approach, the way he approaches every day.
And it's genuine when the kids are doing the same in return.
Yeah.
When I was over there for a little bit yesterday, and the kids and their parents are asking me questions, I said, well, it's been, 40-something years since I said, but this is where you want to be. You want to be in that family setting to where not only are the coaches talking family, but the players that are here and have been here and are coming up, everybody's teaching that same thing. Represent your family in the right way.
So for those of you listening, I was real young when Eric came here.
He didn't have any gray then.
Now they both do.
Now they both do.
All right, guys, thanks so much for, being here. Caring. You drove up from Tampa to be here tonight, heading back, and we appreciate you.
Not a problem, Jerry. Anything for FSU, and definitely for coaches.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you.
No problem, Jerry.
Handshake. Shane, thanks a lot for your time.
Enjoy.
Yeah,